Hi guys, this is Chris Von Hoffman here. I'm here to interview Robert Altman's The Player. The film came out in about 1992. It was one of his huge ensemble films. It was out after MASH in Nashville, and I think it was after Short Cuts too. I think it was right after Short Cuts, but it was very similar to Short Cuts, just in California and Hollywood system. And I think Robert Altman co-wrote it. He directed it. I always think that he works best with ensemble pieces. But it has pretty much everyone. Tim Robbins, I think Jeremy Piven has a very small part in it. Lily Tomlin, Greta Scacchi, Cynthia Stevenson, Peter Gallagher, Fred Ward, Whoopi Goldberg plays a detective, if you can believe it. Lyle Lovett, the musician, has a small part and is another detective. And it's a really Vincent D'Onofrio's in it. Tim Robbins plays a Hollywood executive who lives in a pretty corrupt world in Hollywood, and he's one of those guys that screenwriters come and pitch their stories to, and he listens to hundreds of bad script ideas a day, and he ends up getting death threat postcards from a screenwriter that who's upset that he never read his script, and so he ends up contacting, finding out, trying to find out who it is, and he ends up meeting this woman who he thinks is his sister, and he ends up starting a relationship with the woman, but he ends up killing someone who, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who he thought was the killer, or who he thought was the stalker, and so he is involved in the police and murder and everything, but it's all, it all comes crash, it's all like a metaphor for the film business just imploding on his life. But it's really a pretty strong film. It really is pretty brilliant, and the opening shot is literally one take, and Robert Altman, this is why Robert Altman is such a genius, because it literally is just a long take of panning around the entire studio lot. I think it's Paramount Pictures that it's taking place at. The entire studio lot, introducing all the characters in different rooms in the entire lot, all the while following the mail boy as he's going, and it keeps on popping in Tim Robbins' office, then it goes to another woman's office, but it keeps on, panning around the entire set. It really is a fantastic opening shot, and I think it lasts for 7 minutes or something, but it's really pretty impressive. So that's my review on Robert Altman's The Player. If you haven't seen it, I'm a huge fan of Robert Altman. I think his best films come out from ensemble, Nashville, Short Cuts, Perry Home Companion, MASH, which is probably one of the best comedies ever made, and The Player is definitely my, The Player and Short Cuts and Nashville and MASH are definitely my favorite Robert Altman films. But if you haven't seen The Player, definitely check it out, especially if you love movies about making movies, because The Player is all about that, and it's hysterical, it's funny, there's so many familiar names in there, and it really is a pretty strong film. So definitely check out The Player. Alright.